guys to find out a little bit more about this living. And for me, I think he's accomplished a lot as a good person. And he's going to give you guys some tips and some advice on how to be focused and how to achieve your goal. Okay? Like what we talked about, he's going to be flying $40 to $80 million jet planes. It's really expensive airplanes. He's going to be defending our country. Okay? He's going to be shooting missiles and stuff like that. They don't give that job to anybody.
Are
okay?
we going to see missiles?
No. Okay?
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. Okay. So you don't see them. Okay, guys? Everybody wants to be a pilot or even a jet pilot. You know, guys have to tell that to girls to impress them, and he's actually going to become one. Alright, so that's a huge accomplishment, but you don't just wish for it. You have to plan for it, you have to think about it. I'm not saying you have to be a jet pilot. You can be a doctor, you can be the best pastry chef in the world, you can become a black belt, but everything in life, you got to plan, you got to have passion for it, you got to have focus. Okay, so maybe I want maybe a short 2-3 minutes, give some word of wisdom to these young people.
All right.
That'd be okay?
Sure. I didn't decide I wanted to be a pilot until I accidentally ran upon the time where I actually saw pilots performing his job. I finished high school, didn't do anything special. I was an average person, so if you look amongst yourselves and you feel like you're average, like you didn't do any better than the other guy, you weren't the best wrestler. I wasn't the best wrestler in high school, and I mean, I was good, but I wasn't, the best. And I didn't really do a lot of things. I wasn't very motivated in high school. I didn't have a lot of direction. No one really taught me a lot of tools to be successful. But when I joined the Navy after high school, I started realizing there's more than just what I know. Down the street. Have I ever been out of my county? Have I ever been out of my state? Have I ever done anything? You see all this stuff on television. You watch these tropical islands. You see all these special things, but you never really, kind of experienced it. But the opportunity that I joined the Navy, the first time I joined the Navy, I started experiencing a lot of these things. And I started realizing, well, maybe I really don't know what I want to do. Does anybody know what they want to do when they grow up? No? Sort of? Okay? Right? But nobody really, really, really wants to know what they want to do, right?
I do.
You do? What do you want to do?
I want to be in the Army.
Want to be in the Army. Good. Alright? But a lot of people don't know what they want to do until they get older. And experiencing a lot of different things leads to that opportunity.
So I'll answer your question in a second.
I know what I want to be.
Alright. Well, you can tell me at the end, alright? So basically the opportunity to see what a pilot does, I was stationed on an aircraft carrier, and I watched these pilots land all the time. And I watched what they did, okay? I worked in military intelligence, and I got to see bombing missions, and I got to see all the pilot footage, and what the job entailed, and it's an awesome job. So I knew I had this, I didn't know how to get there, okay? All I knew is I wanted to do this job. And there's a lot of people that want to do this job, but I realized that there's so many things that I needed to do, okay? And what I needed to do was a list of items, and it was a pretty long list. I needed to have a college education, I had to get a pilot's license, I had to get professional recommendations from senior military officers like admirals. I had to perform so many years of service that I had to finish, and it was very difficult, okay? So what I had to do was a long list, and a lot of people consider that list to be too long, that it's unachievable, you couldn't do it. But I was very committed, and the thing that I could lead to most of my success is down to two really, really strong things. Positive influences in my life, okay, and the desire to want to do it. Those are ultimately two things that made my success. When I was in the military, my dad, okay, he was supportive of me being successful, but he had never been a pilot himself, so I really couldn't rely on him as a person to make me succeed, alright? So I had other people in my life, grandparents you can have in your life. For me, there was senior military officers that saw potential in me, and they said I could do it, They said I could do this, alright? And they give me little tips of help and wisdom. And one thing that could be very useful to you guys, that was useful to me, is just to listen. There's so much knowledge floating around these rooms all the time, whether you're in here learning karate, mixed martial arts, wrestling. There's so much to be learned, and a lot of times people aren't listening. Your ears can hear noise, but you're not listening and you're not observing. And one of the best things is to be a good student, okay? And listen to everything someone's saying. There's so much important knowledge sitting around here. And a lot of times, it's so readily available you don't take advantage of it, okay? There's such a rare opportunity, okay? So when you have rare opportunities to listen to someone who's very successful, you should always pay as much attention as possible. When I was your ages, I didn't know this lesson. Okay? I never took advantage of that opportunity. But now that I've learned that lesson, anytime I see anyone, I always try to pay as much attention as possible because there's going to be something that I can learn from them to make me more successful. Okay? So, back to the friends, the influences. The people that I hung out with in high school weren't the best people. Okay? They didn't go off after high school and be very successful. They just did mediocre things, you know? They end up being one's a carpenter, one works at a tire shop, the other one works at McDonald's. They didn't really do many super successful things, you know? Those are great things. They have their success, but it's not the success I desire, okay? So to do that, I had to find people that had similar success. So when I was at school, I didn't hang out with the people that didn't come to class all the time and went and did other things that didn't relate to class. I focused with the students who were doing the best in class. And what I found out is I ended up being in a pack of people that were doing really good, and I found myself being more successful. So eventually I just got introduced into that pack of people, and then eventually I ended up leading that pack. And what happens is if you're focused enough and you want a goal enough, you'll end up progressing past people, not because of your potential, even that does help, it's because of your desire. Your desire, ultimately, how bad you want something is how bad you're willing to work for it. Okay? If you want something really, really bad, you'll do anything you can to get it. And that's the kind of passion you have to have for something. Never pursue anything unless you have an absolute passion for it. If you have an absolute passion to be great at karate, show up to class every day, ready to learn, ready to do whatever you can. If it's not for you, then why waste your time, right? Do exactly what you want to do. Does everybody here want to learn karate?
We'll do jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu? Jiu-jitsu? Everyone learns jiu-jitsu, right? So if everyone wants to learn jiu-jitsu, then every time you come, you should pay every little attention. When you go home, you should watch videos on the internet of watching jiu-jitsu. Learn moves, more moves than you learn in class. Maybe you try to find moves that you see in class and see how it's done in the real world. Alright? You'll see that the technique is very simple. And you can learn. Practice at home. How many of you go home and practice your jiu-jitsu moves safely? Right? See, so even though you're interested, you're not taking full advantage. Do you agree? See, so there's all these little things, these little passions, okay? This little passion is what's going to make you successful. And ultimately, you'll find, if you're very passionate about something, you'll find that not everyone's going to help you and pursue your goal. And what you're going to have to realize is that you are your most important person to make your success. Alright? This sounds very strange, alright? I'm sure, because you're pretty young. But that is really ultimately, if you want something really, really bad, don't ever give up on it. Okay? And you will be successful. And I think the Navy thing, alright, that made me so successful was the opportunity that I had. I was very fortunate enough to get, to accidentally, from my dad, influenced me to join the Navy. Initially when I joined the Navy, I wasn't a pilot. But I realized that's what I wanted to do after I joined. And then from that point on, to the point I am now, is 8 years. That's how long it's taken me to achieve all of those goals, put them together to be a pilot. 8 years. It's a long time. Have any of you guys, how many of you are, how old are you guys?
10. I'm 7.
So the average time that you guys have been alive is how long I've been just pursuing one goal. It's a long time, right? Alright? That means you have to have passion for it, okay? So what you want to think about is when you're growing up, right? You want to find something you want to do and you want to pursue it. And the best way to pursue it and be passionate about it, okay, is to get around people that are doing the same thing as you. Because you guys all have passion for it, right? It's like a club. You hang out, you get to see the same person that you work with every day, you're your buddy, you do the same interest, same thing, you're going to pursue and you're going to be better at it. And another thing too, you don't always have to be the most talented to be the most successful. I was never the best wrestler. My brother, better wrestler than I am in high school. But if you have the other things like the academics and education, which is very important in sports, okay, you can go to college and get those opportunities. There's plenty of wrestlers in college that I've seen that aren't as talented as some of the wrestlers in high school, but because they had the academics and they did their book work, they were able to go to college. Okay, colleges are looking for not only wrestlers, but they're also looking for students. And you have to be a student, to be a successful student to be an athlete. Right?
It's called student athlete.
Student athlete.
It's a Greek concept. Thank you so much, guys. Just quick review for next week. Brownie points. What was the 2 things that you gotta have? You mentioned it. Let's review it, because next week I'm gonna ask for it. If you know it next week, you get extra brownie points. That means extra prize. What was the two things? Does anyone remember? If not, you'll review it.
Is it Kaizen?
Positive influences, personal desires.
Two things. So next week, I'm going to ask you, if you want to be successful in life, what are the two things you got to have?
Positive influence and positive desire.
Positive influence and personal desire. So not what someone else wants you to do, but what you yourself want to do. And desire is like fire. It has to be strong. And it'll burn. It'll cut through everything.
Have you guys ever really anticipated a TV show coming out or a toy coming out? How many of you have? You ever had this toy? You just like you see it coming out in a couple months, and you're just like so excited about it. You have that burning desire, you're like looking it up on the internet, and your friends are talking about it, right? The new game system comes out, you're really excited about it. That kind of personal desire, all right? You gotta really, really want it, okay?
Or just get it for Christmas.
Get it for Christmas. Aren't you excited for Christmas? You're like ready for that opportunity. You sit up, you're waiting up, and then you fall asleep, and you're just waiting for that morning. It's hard to sleep the night before. You guys ever had that experience?
Nope.
No?
Well, actually,
All right.
just
Guys, your parents are waiting for you, but next week, really quick, I'm going to ask for the questions. If you answer it correctly, you get extra brownie points. Okay? Positive influence. Watch who you hang out with. Okay? Watch the crowd you hang out with. And personal desire. We'll go into more details next week. And quick, guys, we're running out of time. Guys, can everyone say thank you, Mr. Roy?